Hello, and welcome back to the final episode of the Shattered Relics League on this channel. I can't believe these 8 weeks have gone by so quickly, and here we are already at the end of the league. This has honestly been such an absolute blast, and I hope you'll enjoy this last episode of this series. The clip you're looking at right now was about 2 weeks before the end of the league, at which point I thought to myself that I should probably start the maxing grind if I'm ever going to have a chance at maxing at all in this league. So I actually wanted to start off by killing the Chaos Elemental for a Dragon Pickaxe so that I could use that on the 99 mining grind. And I got spooned it at 5 KC, which is just absolutely insane. This is a really nice item to get very lucky on for sure. So since I was starting off my maxing grind with mining, I figured I would probably go out of my way to get full Prospector, as that's a task not only for an achievement diary, but also for a league task as well. And I started off with Motherlode Mine, of course. It wound up being really quick and only took about 4 hours to get, and I got around 3 to 4 million mining experience out of it, so it was pretty beneficial to start off with this. Now the next thing I was going to do is actually go mine some sandstone for crafting, but I realized I'm going to want to kill Vorkath for 99 prayer, and Vorkath also drops a lot of dragon hide, which I will be able to use for crafting. So it really makes sense for me to go to Vorkath first and get my 99 prayer before doing that, just in case I don't actually need to mine any sandstone. I think there's a chance. But before I go to Vorkath, I want to go to Hydra and see if I can get spooned a claw in order to get the Dragon Hunter Lance. And before I go to Hydra to get spooned a claw, I want to get one more Zenite because I want to get the Amulet of Torture. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I said I was going to work on maxing and we're right back to Pvm, but I can train Slayer up in the meantime as well. I need a couple more levels there. So let's go back to the Demonic Gorillas. So going back to Demonics, within 10 kills of starting my task, I actually did get my next Zenite, which was amazing. And then I got 2 Zenites very close to back near the end of it. In total, I got all 4 of my Zenites in 319 KC and 2 Slayer tasks, which is just extremely nice. Not only is it nice to go lucky on these because they take a while to kill, it's also a task to kill 300 of them, so going just over 300 KC is the most efficient way I could have possibly gotten this done, and I'm super happy with it. I wound up making the Amulet of Torture and the Tormented Bracelet, but I didn't quite have the money to buy another Onyx to make the Ring of Suffering, so I didn't quite go that far with it. But I do have 3 of the 4, and the Ring of Suffering is not that useful in this league due to Absolute Unit anyway, so I didn't bother with that. I think I wound up making it at the end for the points, but that was it. And this part's actually kind of funny. Because of Incondo's Apprentice, I had all this extra high value jewelry laying around. I figured I'd just high elk it for the money because I'll need that for construction later on in this video anyway. Just a weird feeling to be high elking like Zenite jewelry and stuff. So in line with my plan, from here I went to Hydra in hopes of getting spooned on a claw. The claw isn't strictly necessary for my maxing grind here, but it would be really nice to have, and it would feel kind of bad to not go ahead and try for it before heading to Vorkath anyway. That said, it is a 1 in 300, so I wasn't super hopeful going into it that I would receive it. And Hydra, as I learned, is a pretty slow kill, so I didn't stay here very long. I only stayed here about 100 kills in total. During that time, I did get all 3 pieces of the Brimstone Ring, so I was able to build that, but I did not get the claw, and that's kind of to be expected. It was a huge gamble anyway. But since there's no reason for me to stay here at Hydra, I decided to move on and just head to Vorkath with the Zamorak and Hasta that I already have. And in classic Iron Man style, after I went back to Vorkath for a little while, I realized super antifires would be really beneficial, and I had the Herblore supplies just chilling in my bank anyway, so I decided to go ahead and knock out 99 Herblore just by processing the stuff that I already had. This was actually really quick. It only took me like an hour or 2 from the mid-90s where I was. It helped to have all the supplies ready to go. And I used that to make some super antifires so that I could head back to Vorkath and do a little bit more efficiently from there. It's kind of weird to be playing Iron Man mode and just go ahead and say something along the lines of like, I need 99 Herblore, let me just knock out 93 to 99 Herblore in like one go. That's just definitely not an experience you can have anywhere else but the leagues. So finally, one last visit to the Blue Dragon, and we get the bones we need for 99 prayer. On the way, I also got 99 strength, which is really nice, as well as getting a unique, the Dragon Bow Necklace from Vorkath. A completely useless item in this league for sure, but it is points to get, so that is a nice little boon for sure. Then of course we go ahead and go out to the Wilderness Altar and use all of the Dragon Bones there for 99 prayer. This is one of the benefits of having the entire world unlocked. There's some regional specific points of interest, such as the Chaos Altar, that make training specific skills incredibly easy compared to the rest of the world. I didn't have access to the Chaos Altar in the Trailblazer League, and it took me so much longer to get 99 Prayer than in this league. The fact that your bones count as basically 2 in this league, because there's such low risk to use the Chaos Altar anyway, is just such a benefit. It was so fast to get 99 Prayer in this league, actually a lot faster than I was expecting. I only did about 150 Vorkath KC to get all the bones that I needed for this, so it was really fast. And due to that, I actually got far less hides than I was thinking from Vorkath, and those hides only got me up to 94 crafting. So I had to do quite a bit of sandstone mining in order to get the rest of the materials I needed for 99 crafting. Thankfully, it was pretty fast using the last recall method. We used Greedy Gatherer and Personal Banker to actually bank the sandstone for you, and then use last recall to put only the biggest pieces into the sandstone grinder. Overall, it saves you quite a bit of time and gets you your buckets of sand just that much faster. I did wind up undershooting my glass needs just a little bit, so I had to do the last 500k or so experience of crafting with flax that I got from Zulrah, but it actually wasn't too bad. And I got the 99 crafting unlock, which basically means I've unlocked construction and rune crafting, since with last recall, the crafting bank teleport is almost a necessity for those to save as much time as possible. So all of that said, I finally was able to go back to mining, and I started by finding some shooting stars. There's a couple shooting star related tasks that you need to do, so I figured it makes sense to just try to find some when I could and mine them. It wound up only taking about an hour to get all the stardust that you need for the task related to shooting stars, so it was really quick and easy, and I got a good amount of AFK mining experience from this as well. Outside of that, I was just mining iron in the mining guild, using Molten Miner of course, so I could use the steel bars for smithing later on. I did wind up taking a few breaks from mining to go back to Chambers of Xeric here, just because I wanted to try to complete the speedrun tasks there, and actually did wind up completing the first two, I believe the 26-minute and the 22-minute one. Now, I'm not really good at Chambers of Xeric solos at all, but I was still really happy with these times. I know a lot of people were able to do better, but this is what I was able to do, and I'm super proud of it. And then finally, after all that messing around, 99 mining on iron. One more out of the way, on to the next one, which is of course smithing. Doing this in Prif, of course, as it's the closest anvils to a bank there. I actually made these into darts, so I'll be able to use them on fletching later, but it wound up not being super important, as you'll see later, unfortunately, but it was really fast to get 99 smithing this way. Thankfully, all these free bars, plus the double smithing relic, made the experience really fast. Smithing was another really hard one during the Trailblazer League that was made incredibly easy during Shattered Relics. After smithing, I decided it was time for some fire making, so I headed to the Winter Tot, and not really much to be said here. No real unlocks, nothing interesting happened, really fast experience, and it was a Tot grind. I did wind up finishing my 99 fire making at Teaks while doing woodcutting, as I needed a little bit more woodcutting experience, and with the auto burning logs relic, it made sense to get that experience passively, even if it was only going to save like 15 minutes to 30 minutes. But due to this, I did get my 99 fire making and 99 woodcutting basically back to back. And during the process, I actually wound up maxing my final relic, which is a master task, and one thing that I almost forgot to do. So I'm glad I remembered and maxed out those relics. It can take a while if you forget one at a very low XP amount. And then finally, I figured I have my crafting cape, I should start rune crafting. And I did this really slowly. I only went up to 85 during my first grind session, and I was having a really hard time getting into it, unfortunately, and this presented a huge problem for later on in the video, as you'll see. I very quickly pivoted around 85 to do some agility instead, as I knew I needed a lot of agility training too, and also needed the money for 99 construction. After an hour or two of that, I'd had almost a 10 mil cash stack, so I headed off to the Sepulchre to mess around there and learn how it works and get some tasks done. Nothing real interesting to note there though. After that, I wound up doing some more agility, but at Apatol, I only wound up doing 100 laps here. I was planning to do more on my way to 99, but I just stopped at 100 because that was the first monkey unlock, so I figured that was a good point to stop for now until I could see if I could do more. After that, boom, 99 construction. Bet you weren't expecting that one. Yes, you totally were, actually. It took just a couple hours doing mahogany tables. Nothing really fancy here. Made the planks, of course, with last recall. Stuff you've probably seen and even done yourself before. Following this, I tried to do some diaries to use the lamps on rune crafting, but unfortunately I missed a lot of diary requirements in all my gameplay. There were some minor quests that I didn't do, as well as some other things that just blocked me from doing so many diaries that it was really kind of a letdown. That's one thing I'm definitely going to have to pay attention to next league, is making sure I'm knocking out some of these diaries sooner so that I know that I'm not blocked on them with only a few days to go in the league. So after that unfortunate experience, I did head over and start my thieving grind. I was at least able to do the arty hard, so I figured I'd try my hand at getting a blood shard, which is a task. And I got spooned it in 150 pickpockets or so, which is just absolutely insane. It's like a 1 in 1.3k, so I wasn't expecting to get it at all, but I got it really fast. Nice 125 point boost for sure. And it was around this time that unfortunately I realized that I'm not going to be maxing in this league. Due to a bunch of real life conflicts, the last 2 weeks of the league for me were extremely busy, so I wasn't able to put in the hours required to get up to 99 runecrafting and agility, which wound up being the problematic skills in this league. I have around 15 hours left in both, and I just don't have that gameplay time left. At this point, where I'm recording this right now, there are 3 days left in the league, so I'm not going to be able to put that in. That said, there are still a number of tasks I can complete to get a few more points before we're done, so you know what that means. It's time for a Task Rush V3, the finale. Let's do it. With this final task, that is a little bit over 30,000. I was able to actually eke it out and have a little bit of extra. 30,210 points achieved. This does mean that I'm very likely not going to be able to make the rune tier this time around. I'm going to be just under by probably around 2,000 to 3,000 points, and that's pretty unfortunate, but also not a huge deal. I definitely underperformed my goals, but I had a lot of fun along the way, and I suppose that's the most important thing for the leagues. And perhaps a bit anticlimactically, this is where we leave off the Shattered Relics League. These 8 weeks have been some of the most fun I've ever had playing this game, including my time with Trailblazer. I think Shattered Relics was a step above. I know it had a lot of shortcomings and problems, but having access to the full game as well as the relic system this time around was just an absolute blast. I had so much fun, and I hope that you did too. And we'll take a quick peek in the bank, of course. I'll do a slow scroll here. This tab is not very interesting. It's pretty much just all of my ragtag supplies as well as items that I've used throughout the league. Nothing too interesting here, but as you can see at the top of the bank, my bank value is 777 mil, which is considerably more than it was last league, so I'm at least fairly proud of that. But of course, the very last 2 tabs are the most interesting ones. Here are all the Pvm items I managed to achieve in this league, most notably 4 Saradomin Hilts, 5 Godsword Shards. Did get 3 of the 4 Godsword Shards achieved along the way. There are a lot of items in here I'm really proud of, and I'm really happy with the Pvm progress I made in this league. I did things like learn Hydra, learn raids, things that I would never have been able to do before this, so I'm really thankful for the league in that regard. And then finally, the clue tab. I would love to do more clues this time around, but they're just so time consuming that it's just hard to justify spending that much time on them. And there's a lot of great items in here, but could always have more. I know it is a bit apples to oranges, but comparing this league to Trailblazer, last time I got about 40k points, and this time I only got 30k, so that's definitely a decrease. Having the whole game open to me definitely made me a little less efficient, I think, unfortunately. Plus, a lot of the tasks were harder at the end of it anyway. Last time I was safely in Rune. This time, I'm just under Rune, unfortunately. Looking at the stats tab here, I of course did not max. That's a huge shortcoming this time around, but I just can't justify putting in like 10 hours of skilling just to get a couple more points from that. However, I did get 230 collections logged, which is pretty good. And then of course looking at the playtime, up to 27 days, 19 hours. But that actually includes my playtime from Trailblazer as well, which was actually 16 days and 19 hours. So altogether, I've only played Shattered Relics for about 11 days, not nearly as much as I thought, to be honest. The fact that the league was 50% shorter than the previous one definitely contributes to that more than anything. But overall, my playtime was actually significantly less on average per day. I only played about 4.5 hours per day, whereas in the previous league I played closer to 6 hours per day. I definitely was a lot busier this time around, unfortunately. And with this, a final goodbye to the Shattered Relics League, and a hopeful look towards the future and whatever Leagues 4 comes to bring. Leagues is by far my favorite content this game has ever had, and I'm so excited and looking forward to Leagues 4. It's going to be a long year without, but when we get there, I hope you'll join me for that journey as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time with this series, and I hope you had a good time with your own League's progress. And of course, an extra huge thank you to all of the channel members who have joined the channel, especially double huge thanks to OneKiller912 and PeepoTime for joining that top tier. Take care, and I will see you back in Time Traveler.